Welcome to today's new hit TV show, Who's More Important? Every week we interview two famous people and you get to decide who's more important. In this very special episode, we will be traveling back in time to a period known as the Industrial Revolution. Here's a little background info on the Industrial Revolution. It occurred during the 18th and 19th centuries and was a period of great social and economic change. Due to many new technological innovations and the creation of factories for large-scale manufacturing, Great Britain and many of the surrounding regions were ultimately urbanized. Today, we'll be interviewing two of the most prominent inventors of the 18th century to determine which of them has made the greatest contribution to the Industrial Revolution. Here we go. With us here are Edmund Cartwright, the famous inventor who revolutionized the textile industry with his wool combing machine and power loom.
Hello there.
And James Watt, the man who has revamped the steam engine and made it over 20 times more effective than its original model.
Call me Jamie.
Edmund, let's begin with you. Why do you think that you deserve to win the title of most important inventor of the Industrial Revolution?
Well, I wasn't always the inventive type. I was raised by my father, who was an English gentry. He wanted me to he wanted to put me through school so I become a clergyman. But it wasn't until later that I discovered my real passion in life, inventing. I believe it was the year 1784, where I had my first real revolutionary idea, the power loom. I fell in company with some gentlemen of Manchester, and we got into talking about the textile industry and how Sir Richard Arkwright's invention of the water frame had created an abundance of cotton threads in textile mills. There was so much excess thread and not enough laborers to weave it into cloth. So I came up with the idea to create some sort of machine that could weave much more efficiently than any human. Within 2 years, I successfully created the world's first mechanized weaving machine, the power loom. I invented something called the wood combing machine as well. This machine could efficiently do the work of 20 wool combers, which would save textile companies over 1,000 pounds per year.
Alright, now that we know why Edmund Cartwright believes that he deserves the title of most important inventor of the Industrial Revolution, it's time to hear what James Watt has to say.
Well, like Edmund, I wasn't originally an inventor. I was more of an engineer. I focused more on making things better and more efficient. My main success came from my rediscovery of latent heat. Well, what is latent heat? Well, if you take 2 pounds of steam and pass it through 10 pounds of freezing water, the steam will turn into water at 212 degrees Celsius, but the 10 pounds of freezing water will also turn into water at 212 degrees Celsius. I then took this principle and put it in an engine and made an engine that was 5 times more efficient than the original. Next, I introduced a separate condenser and a closed cylinder to my engine and made it another 4 times more efficient. But enough talk about my success with engines. I invented so much more. I created a new type of lamp that was a lot more reliable than previous versions, and also added a crank to an engine to make the first ever steamboat. I then used the same concept of the steamboat to make the first steam-powered cart, which I deemed a moving wheel carriage.
Thank you, James, for that very detailed explanation of latent heat. Okay, folks, you've heard both of their arguments on why they should win the title of most important inventor of the Industrial Revolution. So now it's time to vote who's most important. Text 978 who wins to vote who's most important. Thanks for watching and see you next time on Who's More Important.
What's